Welcome to Enigma Cast, nerds. I didn't want to do it. Did not want to do it. I did not want to talk about lizard people, but I tell you what, it pulled me in. It pulled me in, nerds. The last 3 out of the last 5 podcasts we've done, lizard people have came up. And so today, I thought to myself, I'm going to get the crew together. We're going to go down this rabbit hole, and if I got to go in it, y'all got to go in it too. But before we get into all that, introduce yourselves. Sasquatch Steve, hit him.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Sasquatch Steve Taylor, longtime friends of Joe here, and love getting into all sorts of weird stuff, primarily from New Jersey, but I'll take it from anywhere.
That's right. Where can we find you, Steve?
You can find me on Instagram at Sasquatch Steve Taylor.
All right.
And I am Uncle Jay, brought to you by 11 Dog Media. I guess every time I say it, Joe gets a little angry, so I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, Jay writes
I'm
books.
An author.
Yeah, he writes books.
Yeah, I'm an author and a researcher.
Author, researcher, philosopher, world creator.
Something like that.
Everything. And y'all already know who I am, so we didn't even get into all that. Before we roll into this, though, moment of seriousness. We have a nonprofit organization called Project First Step, where we help people get the type of mental health treatment that they need. We mainly specialized in psychosis-based mental health behavior issues. And if you know anybody that's surfing through that, or you need some help with yourself, projectfirststep.com, hit it up, and you can reach out through there. We're a 501(c) all across the U.S., so everything we do is tax deductible, and it's 100%. All your donations go to the cause. None of that goes to us. But enough of that. You might not live tomorrow after you see what's going on with this people. We're talking about lizard people. Lizard people, a.k.a. the Dracos, a.k.a. the Reptilians, a.k.a. shapeshifters. As far as I know, one of these noobs is probably a Draco Reptilian. One of them is. One of them. I've always a little suspicious here. It's probably that guy from New Jersey, if I'm being honest, right there.
This is actually a live feed from my home solar system. So,
is that what keeps you from getting homesick?
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, boys, I did not want to pull on this thread. I did not go looking for this. All right. Some people are called. I don't want to say I'm the John Wick of reptilian investigations, but some people it just rolls up on my doorstep, right? 2-3 podcasts ago, we did a story about a Egyptian-like civilization found in the Grand Canyons. Found out the Hopis, their creation story, they believe that, they state that they're the first people and they were brought out of the earth by a reptilian species that could shapeshift into humans. They refer to them as ant people, and that throws people off because they don't look like ants. They lived like ants. They have these massive honeycomb caverns in there. Jay, jump on, hack into the mainframe there and pull up, just do a quick search on all the different cultures that have a word for reptilians, shapeshifters, and you will find that it's every single written culture or every single culture that was able to develop writing. I stopped at cave paintings, had a word for reptilians that could shapeshift. The Naga out of India, the Peruvians have one. The Africans, depending on what part of Africa you're in, call them the Chitari. There are statues all over the earth of large reptilian humanoids. And if I told you that was not the weirdest part, would y'all believe me?
Yeah,
yes.
Totally would.
No, you would. Well, okay, it's not the weirdest part. So, have you guys ever heard of this? Have you ever heard of this thing? And this is flat earther level serious. If people that are into the Dracos, they take it as serious as the flat earth crew. Have you ever heard of the Draco agenda or the Seed Wars?
I've never heard of them referred to. Like, it's always been lizard people, right? Like, I never, like, formal names, right? Not really something that entered into my worldview very much. The whole lizard people thing. Again, it's a flat earther level conspiracy, and you know how I feel about conspiracies.
And
More
they
than three
are.
people know something about something, they're gonna get jealous, right?
Steve, you ever heard about these Dracos?
I've heard, and that's as far as I know nothing about it. I've heard of it, but that's it.
So they in the comments. I know if any Draco lovers are watching this, leave it in the comments if I get this wrong. Draco is referred to the star system they're from, which is somewhere near the Orion belt. I don't know what the star is up there, but it's the Drake, something like Draco, Draco. Funny thing about it is that you tug this thread long enough, they'll tell you that Vlad the Impaler was a draconian shapeshifter. Draco, that's where the name Draconian came from. And that's why he referred to himself as the dragon. And that weird, whoever the king is in England over there right now, he claims he's a descendant from Vlad the Impaler. He actually owns Vlad's castle in Transylvania. And they call them blue bloods. And that's like, that has something to do with these Draco stuff. So like all this weird stuff is out there.
Well, that's actually. Go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say when I was doing a little research, just that was one thing that I did see, that one of the main theories is that this reptilian people, yes, they come from either the Draco constellation or the Orion constellation, and Draco is Latin for the word dragon.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from.
So that means it's true. We're done.
Exactly. Yes. I'm not debating it.
So that's where they're from. Here's why they're here. Okay. The foundation of the theory about these Dracos, because that's what I'm going to refer to it as, a theory. I'm not going to insult the Dracos, calling it a conspiracy. I'll just call it a theory. Is that these beings, they are actually the ones that control the earth, the New World, and they're the ones behind the New World Order. And they are every single political leader that we have, almost every celebrity that we have, are these shape-shifting draconian lizards, right? They're a predator race. They demand human sacrifice. They eat children. And they're really big into blood. Now, I laughed when I heard that, right? I did. I laughed when I heard that, right? But I got some receipts here, some unexplainable stuff, man, that I'm just like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, given enough creative mind, I can connect anything to anything.
Nah, this right here is pretty weird, man. This is pretty weird. There was a kid, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, who did a science fair project somewhere that traced back the lineage of every single U.S. president to one man. And the only one who didn't trace back was Donald Trump. Every other U.S. president that we've ever had has traced back to this dude. I can't remember his name. You can probably look it up real quick. And he was rumored to be a shape-shifting demon. So,
I've heard that most U.S. presidents can trace their lineage back to George Washington or something like that.
Yeah, and he goes back, and it goes all the way back, man. And it's weird. It just gets weird. But then it gets even weirder, right? And to show the hate that Trump gets, you can just add the fuel to the fire on that, right? But put that to the side.
Can we please?
There is a story where Jay-Z was on an airplane and he morphed into a lizard, and people freaked out. We're taking pictures. It was all over Twitter at the time, and Twitter was getting scrubbed. People were like, this dirty mother effer literally just turned into a lizard. And the same thing happened to Adele. I don't know if you know who Adele is, right? Yeah, I know, right? Same thing happened to Adele.
I'm picturing being on this plane. Right?
Yeah, no.
I'm picturing being on this plane. All of a sudden, Jay-Z sneezes, right, and it he accidentally shifts into a reptile.
Yeah, and Adele.
That's what I call a pant shitter, right?
Addressed the people that saw it happening and told them to please be calm. I'm one of the good ones.
Of course.
That's what she said.
I'm one of the good ones. Yeah.
She's like, okay.
Was she a green lizard or a brown lizard?
It didn't say, man.
green
Jay-Z was
lizards are the
Jay-Z
good
was
ones.
brown.
The
They
brown
said he
lizards are
turned
the
into a
bad
brown
ones?
lizard. And the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins on Joe Rogan said a music exec one time turned into a lizard in front of him.
I gotta see that one.
And
I gotta
literally, if you type Joe Rogan lizard people, it pops right up on the search, man. So yeah, I wanted to stop there.
The lizard people thing for me is one of the ones that just like I just kind of keep going. I'm sorry.
I'm on board, Joe. Let's
but
keep
also
going.
too, man, like if you can go on there, you go on there, and there is several stories. Britney Spears had a story where she said when she was on a video chat with Prince William when they were younger, and for fun he showed her a trick where he turned into a lizard on the cam, right? And I was like, okay, that story's been out for a long time, right? There was rumors. There's also rumors. That's the funny part, right?
Yeah.
So there are some dark rumors, man. Jay-Z is incredibly satanic. His mentor is Aleister Crowley. Jay-Z's motto is "Do what thou will," which is a satanic motto. A lot of Jay-Z symbolism. You don't have to go that far. Beyonce's the same way. So Rihanna's father was a witch doctor, satanic dude out of Haiti. Jay-Z paid $300,000 for her, and they flew her to the U.S. She's not even a citizen on a private jet. All this is public information too, as well. There is a strong satanic bond. There was a rumor that the old queen who died and her husband, I don't know if he's still alive or not, they went to a school somewhere remote in Canada and they slaughtered like 40 kids. There was like this big rumor about that, right? But you can't substantiate that as well. All this new stuff going on around about, I mean, satanic stuff is prevalent right now in our society. They don't even hide it anymore. 100,000 kids went missing on the border over the last 4 years. I don't even know how that happens without large agencies involved or powerful people or money involved.
Or a giant desert.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, they were delivered. Like these kids had wristbands. Like they came across the border. The border service. The what do you call it? Who guards our border? What are those guys called? Not border service, man.
Border Patrol.
Yeah. The border patrol, man. They collect all these wristbands. They know the ones that are for kids, right? Like these cartels are. Like they're more.
But they've also found some pretty decent sized mass graves on the other side of that border too.
Yeah. So. But
You
anyways,
know, and a lot of those were full of students.
Right. So.
I mean, the cartels are
ruthless.
Are ruthless and horrible.
And satanic.
Right? Like, and
they do.
Whatever. I don't know anything about that.
That's what I'm gonna teach you.
Okay. But I mean, there's just so much of it anyway that can be explained by much more, I don't know, mundane sources, right?
We'll see. Steve,
Mm-hmm.
tell him about sangria. Not the drink, Santeria. Tell him what that is. Break him down.
Santeria.
What Santeria? It's the Spanish word for black magic, witchcraft, prevalent down in South America, Central America.
MS-13 was huge into child sacrifice, huge into the beast. So Sicarios and all of the cartels, they pray the Santeria before they go on a hit, to kill somebody, murder somebody. So, and the president of El Salvador, which I'm going to on location in December, talked about how they were dealing with satanic forces when they took the country back. Anyways, there's that weird element to it, right? Either way, these things aren't our friends. So let's put it there. If you ever meet a lizard person, don't just walk up and start a conversation with them. You might eat your face. All right. So.
Unless it's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Still, at that point, keep your one good eye open.
Yeah, keep your one good eye open. Matter of fact, that's how Steve lost his eye. Lizard man snatched it right out, man. So
snatched it right out, right with the tongue.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So now, I didn't through past research, I didn't want to crack open too many cans of lizard people here. I did a look into I already talked about on Instagram about the Chitari in Africa. The Africans, they say that they live in the earth. They control everything. They have a way to manipulate us to fight, and they feed off of our misery, right? And it was actually a pretty good video, man. The guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy is what was, I don't know if he's alive anymore. It was world renowned for his African lore and things like that. And on this channel, we always say ignore Native American legends at your own risk. And so if a guy that's from Africa tells me don't go on that mountain, it's full of lizard people, I ain't going. You understand, right? So Steve, I'm gonna stay back here at the truck. Give you $5 to go touch that mountain. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look. Don't worry.
I'll give you $5 to go touch that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so yes.
Why do you think I want an Iron Man suit?
Yeah. That
right? So I can just go do that shit and not even have to worry about it.
That would come in handy, right? That would come in handy. So anyways,
right.
The Native Americans have a word for reptilian shapeshifters. The Africans have a word. Indians have a word. South America has a word. Japanese have a word.
It came up with Sumerians, Egyptians, Hindus, Chinese, and the Mesoamericans, the Aztecs and the Mayans. Right?
All had a word.
Native Americans and the Aboriginal Australians, the rainbow serpent for the Aboriginal Australians, and then various tribes in Native America, of Native American tribes, have legends of serpent beings, such as the horned serpent in the southeastern woodlands tribe. So that's like down south.
Southeastern woodlands tribe. Yo, that's my hood, our hood, bro.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I mean, think about it. Lots of gators down there.
It's true. And I think the Central American primary deity, I'm not pronouncing that right, deity was Quetzalcoatl, right?
Yeah.
Winged serpent.
The feathered serpent god.
Feathered serpent, right?
The Aztecs and the Mayans. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways.
The dragons, though, the Chinese do not see them that way, right? The Chinese see them as wise and benevolent creatures, and they play a significant role.
Okay. Then.
And then the Hindu was the Naga, and they're often depicted as guardians of treasures and water bodies, which is interesting, right?
Very interesting.
Because where do you find treasure?
Yeah, exactly. Caves.
In cave.
Yeah, that's weird. So anyway, so like we do on this channel, we're at a minimum, we're going to say they saw something. There was a something. We can debate what it is. We can down the road, but we're not going to outright dismiss it that it wasn't something to spring forth all of these legends and these words to go from it as well. And so now, having told y'all that, it's going to get a little weirder. All right, it's going to get a little weirder here.
Oh, weirder than Lizard Man Jay-Z.
Yeah, a little weirder here, right? A little weirder.
Hit me.
Involves our moon, right? So have you heard the theory? And this plays in. Have you? I'm reading this thing now, and I'm trying to grasp it a little bit. Have you ever heard of the legends of the time before the moon? That there are ancient tribal civilizations that report there was a time before the moon, and they use that as a reference in their history. As a breaking point.
It's in my list of things, right? A list of things that I want to go and deep dive into, because I heard a little bit about it, and I was like, so what now?
So it's big in Africa, but also it's around the other societies too. Or it's not societies, ancient civilizations is cultures I was looking for. Supposedly our Earth, because it has so much water, the tides were very unpredictable, and the Earth was extremely hazy once upon a time. A lot of haze, basically mist, right? And they refer to that time as the time before the moon. The Vikings have this saying that people misinterpret it, where they would say strange things come out of the mist. They're referring to that period of time where moisture, I don't know if you've ever been any place that's very snowy with a lot of moisture. It's very misty, right? Now, these legends that I'm reading says that the time before the moon showed up and stabilized the tides and formed the clouds, right? And so the sun shined through, but it literally says the moon showed up, right? And our moon is, if our Earth is a 1 in a trillion type of creation, is what they'll tell you with the calculations about, habitable planets on the Earth. If our Earth is 1 in a trillion, our moon is 1 in 10 trillion because it is perfect. Our moon is the only moon in our solar system that is perfectly spherical. Every other moon has a little bit of weirdness in theirs. Ours is perfectly round. Ours is the only one that's perfect distance from the Earth to completely block out the sun. And ours is in some weird orbit that I'm having a hard time grasping, is that you can never see the back of it. Somehow when our planet spins, this thing always, wherever we're looking,
It's called tidally locked.
Yeah. Our moon's the only one that does that. And I'm just thinking like, okay. And the bitch is hollow.
It does ring like a bell, right? Like
Jay,
the moon is weird.
The
moon is definitely weird.
Tell it.
It's okay. So there's a lot of weird stuff there.
Steve's like, I'm getting off this channel.
Stabilizes.
It's my last show. Steve's like, I'm leaving.
I was going to say this week I'm more of a listener than a participator. You got some interesting stuff going on here, but I'm enjoying it. So please, Jake.
Yeah. It stabilizes our tilt, right? Which is really weird because it's a tidally locked large body, right? That with a circular orbit, which is weird because most planets and other bodies, solid bodies, have an elliptical one.
Elliptical
right?
orbit.
But this one is just tidally locked in a circular orbit, and we're tilted, and that's why we have seasons, right? That
round earther.
season,
So go ahead, round earther.
sorry, my bad. The coin is at an angle as it floats along in the pool.
Steve, this noob.
I don't fucking know. How does that even work? The mechanics there.
Do the round. No, do the round. We're gonna pretend it's round.
Not even an attempt. So what science says, if you believe that, that we're tilted like this, right? Like it's a 23-degree tilt or whatever. It doesn't matter. If the moon wasn't there, it would wobble a little bit, which would result in some really, really, really. You think the weather is unstable now?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Right?
Yeah.
And so it would make it less hospitable to any kind of life, right? So the moon is kind of, in a way, helpful to keeping the cycle that we enjoy going, right? The tides and the seasons and everything else. It's really cool.
Yeah, and also too, our moon is weird about our moon is that when they run computer simulations on the moon, they'll say they thought that within like 10,000 years the moon would be slung out of our orbit, but the moon actually self-adjusts every 10,000 years and starts drifting closer and then goes back out. People on TikTok right now, and I've got such a full plate with this awesome content, I haven't had a chance to look at it. They're reporting that after the eclipse, the moon actually shifted. Like you could see where the craters were here at one point, like it went over here and it like did like a little, like a 30-degree adjustment somehow, right? And the landmarks have changed. That's weird, man. And Jay, what Jay was talking about is when we were, before the reptilians told us never to come back after we did this, NASA sent a probe to the moon, took some pictures, and thought it would be fun to test the moon and slammed the probe into the moon. And it rang like a bell for 13 hours, right? And then somebody else pointed out, a Russian scientist pointed out that if you believe we went to the moon, but the Russian scientist pointed out that
Stanley Kubrick's greatest work.
The moon is made up of, I want to say, primarily quartz, or there's some type. Jay, look up what the moon is supposed to be made of. What's the powder up there? And
I would say mostly silica.
Silica, that's the word, silica, right? And if you wanted to travel through space, silica would be the perfect insulator that you would need for like radiation and like heat and all this other stuff. And then this other scientist, I want to say he was Canadian, noticed that every crater on the moon, regardless of the width, all stop at the same depth. So no matter how big the object that hit the moon, it only went down so far, indicating that there is some type of metal skeleton under there or whatever, right? So that you can't, no matter what, go to it.
It's from what it says here. It's covered by a layer of loose, fragmented silica, stone, and gravel and stuff, and then below that is basalt, right? It's a volcanic rock, so it's going to be a lot harder, right? So which would explain it ringing like a bell, right? Because in the center is an iron core. It's a lot like our planet, which is weird, right?
Hollow like our planet. Yeah, for sure.
Hollow like our planet.
Hollow like our planet, man. And so here's where the Dracos come into play. All right. Supposedly, the Dracos, according to the African legend, the Dracos came to this planet, and the Africans said they came here in an egg, which is the moon. They came here in an egg, right? So the Dracos came here in the moon, right? And they took this planet, or they set up shop on this planet. And on that moon they have the ability to transmit a frequency over the earth that does something to us, kind of puts us in like a fog, or distorts a little bit of reality, or knocks us off, depending on who you talk to, like the yogis, knocks us off our frequency that we're supposed to be vibrating at, or whatever, our frequency, you know? And they say that on the moon there's this giant cube. They call it the soul catcher, that when we die,
we go into the cube.
Well, the cube sucks us up and sends us back down to Earth, and that's reincarnation for us. These reptiles, they're just farming us over and over and over again. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I got.
I wrote a story about that once.
I
wrote a story like that once.
Yeah, right.
I did. Yeah, no. That sounds like a lot of stuff to unpack.
It's huge. That's a whole podcast right now. That's just the whole weirdness of the moon right there, man.
The whole soul catcher idea I find absolutely that is an interesting explanation for reincarnation and ancestral memory, right?
Yes. And so and the guy that was telling this story, this story is actually picking up a lot of steam. Like he has pictures of this cube. It looks like a cube, and there's no straight angles in nature, so I don't know what a cube would be there. But we saw like an obelisk on was it Titan, one of the moons of Mars? We did a cube of whatever.
Yeah, it was one of the moons of Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and so that's how they got here. That's their plan. People have there's a famous story. There's two of these I've heard now. There's a famous story of this Air Force girl said that for years these Dracos would abduct her, take her to the moon, breed with her, and then bring her back, right? And it made me think about what the guy in Africa said, is that these things they're sexually compatible with us, right? And a guy on Instagram is sending me information about this thing called the Seed Wars. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
Steve?
Nope.
No, you ain't going nowhere.
That's a new one. That's a new one. That's a new one on me.
So he says that the Seed Wars are between the Reptilians and the Anunnaki. And that when the Anunnaki came down here and they took us, they took us from them, that they came down here and we were the man that the lizard people created. The Anunnaki took us, changed us up, and it's broken down into the seed wars is that basically we're all just a bunch of hybrids. And so here's where it goes a little, here's a curveball.
Yeah, I told you, man.
I told you, man. You have, is that we're all hybrids of either the reptilian side or the Anunnaki side or something, man. We're all hybrids from these two main bloodlines, and that the actual revelation story is not about Jesus versus Satan. It's about the Anunnaki coming back to fight the Dracos, man. And yeah, that plays with me a little bit. I don't know why that plays with me. I mean, that has legs for me right now. So
It's interesting. I saw a little excerpt from a podcast, and I wish I could remember the guy's name, but he had talked, I guess, to Luis Elizondo, right? One of the guys from the 8-Zip program. And didn't disclose anything, but basically the sentiment was that one of the reasons why some of this stuff is not disclosed is because it's just too big, right? It's something that would kind of shatter people's worlds, right? I just wonder, to me, like, that's a very subjective kind of thing, right? Shatter whose world? Because some of us are a little open to,
I mean, we're weird.
more
Look at
things
this
than
guy.
others.
This guy's got one eye.
And the other one's got one that just,
And you might as well have one, mother trucker. You're
I know,
you're looking at the
it doesn't
door,
work,
and I don't know
right?
what do I look at here?
It doesn't ever, like, it's a conscious effort to keep that motherfucker reined in. So, what can I say?
Jay, check the front and the right. Got it.
Yeah, I got great peripheral vision on the left side.
Yeah.
Nobody can sneak up on me.
Yeah. So yeah. Would this shadow your world? Would this shadow your worldview, Steve? If,
Nah,
if
dude,
the Dracos...
I'm a very flexible. I have a very flexible mind when it comes to this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know, I can invent an explanation for anything.
Steve.
I'd be relieved, honestly. Like, like it would feel like Jacob. I'm working my 9 to 5 every day. This would be a nice change of pace for me.
It really would, absolutely.
Steve, my man's driving home on the turnpike, checking in at 9, checking out at 5, and he's like, "Damn, Dracos, just come out, man. Put me out. Listen, I'd rather have a seed war than go back into this freaking office one more time, man."
It brightened up my week, I'll tell you that.
Dude, and I don't think you're the only one that feels that way at all.
Yeah. You guys remember this? Do you guys ever watch that TV show Westworld?
Oh yeah,
Steve,
I love that
you ever
show.
see that?
It's on HBO, right?
Yeah. Season 1.
I haven't seen it.
Season 1 was great, and
Season 1 and 2.
then
Season 1 and 2, and then you can just stop.
HBO, they did what everything they else do. They ruined it. But
it went off the rails. It really did.
It was talking about the programming, man, the selective programming. So what you're sunk into, Steve, I'm glad now you're on a podcast.
That's right.
So now you're good to go. There's actually biblical references to back up the Draco theory in the Christian Bible as well.
Wait a minute. Which part of the Draco theory? The Jay-Z Rihanna part?
No,
or
no.
just
No, the species.
The Draco. Okay.
The species. Good. So
okay, I can get behind that one.
I'm gonna dig into some scripture here, right? There's a passage in the scripture. We'll refer to it as the fall of Adam. They refer to Satan as a reptile, right? A snake is what they refer to him. And
serpent.
His punishment was, God said, your punishment is to crawl on your belly for the rest of your life, and these humans will bruise your head, right? Not kill you, but bruise your head. First of all, the snake's already on its belly. So he was talking to, if you go by this, he was talking to, that was an Anunnaki standing there talking to a Draco. Anunnakis look like us, humanoids. Dracos are reptilians, right? They also refer to the fight in heaven. Satan is not referred to as, he's referred to as the dragon, The dragon's tail swept a third of the stars from the heaven when it came down. The dragon. Depending on what apocrypha you read in there, Archangel Michael in the fight with Satan, Satan took on his final form of a dragon, and Archangel Michael took his eye out during the fight. And then Jesus watched him fall from heaven like lightning, right? That's why the sickos cover their eye up, because they're showing their allegiance to old one eye, the liar, the serpent, the deceiver. Satan speaks with a forked tongue. Again, a reference to lizard. Satan's deceiving in the garden was telling them that, you're just like us. You're just like this. This is your oppressor. You're a slave. Jay, what he kept them the tree of knowledge, right? Was what it was. You want to know that?
Yeah, it was the tree of. It's different interpretations depending on what depending on what you read, right? Because it's a translation of a translation of a translation. So like,
yeah,
and the semantics there would be really important, right? I have the New International Version, which
the King James. No, that's written by devil worshippers. You don't mess with that.
Okay, I'll find a King James version. But it trips me out.
All devil worshippers. That's easy.
So it describes it as a serpent, right? The serpent was more clever than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. The serpent said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?"
And so Christians will say that
not eat the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know. Like, it doesn't describe it as anything other than the tree in the middle of the garden so far. Right. But let me page down and see what's up. Let me absorb this real fast, and then I'll get back to you.
So that has reference to that, and when it ties into the bigger picture of this thing, not being our friends, farming us, creating strife among us so we fight and die, and then just basically recycling us, sending us back down here to do it again and again and again and again. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, boys. I'm thinking I don't like these Dracos, man. First of all, stop. Why are you shapeshifting here? What's going on with that? What are you doing? What's that?
Yeah.
Steve?
That just
Is this tracking
that would
with
be
you?
that'd probably be pretty terrifying to see.
Well, and the thing too is that I'm just going to run with this. All right, let's just have a thought experiment while Jay does that research.
Yes.
Tomorrow we wake up. Somebody has shot a rocket at the moon, smacked that cube down, and the frequency that's supposedly covering the Earth goes away. You ever seen the movie Alive? I think the guy was wearing the sunglasses. That old movie, Roddy Piper was in it.
Roddy Piper.
They live, or whatever. I think it's called They Live. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's actually a pretty good movie, man. So
I love that movie.
With the sunglasses on, you could see billboard said "Obey, buy," and people had the weird faces.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie, dude.
If that happened, awesome. There's two movies that stand up over. Have you guys watched the Predator with Arnold movie? Get to the Chopper. Have you watched that recently?
Yeah.
Not recently.
I haven't watched it recently, but it does stand up because there's like.
Bro, go watch a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie right now. Back from the day, it's terrible. Right? You know what I'm saying?
They were bad back then, though.
That Predator movie still stands up, man. It's still a good movie, bro. You can watch it free on YouTube. But anyways, if we woke up tomorrow, the Draco War is kicking off, and yeah, man, I don't even know how I would feel or how I would process about that. But I do know that every story that we do on this channel, right, and every story that you go and read and you research, man, are we always the last to know, the smallest, the weakest? You know what I'm saying? Like everybody eats us, everybody enslaves us, right? Like, dang, man, like, wow. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I enslave each other. We've been enslaving each other since the beginning, since there were people.
Not at that level. Not 10-foot tall reptilians level.
No, but I mean, like, think about it, right? How these stories develop, right? It could have just been, it could have been slavery. It could have been people talking about ancestral memories of slavery, right?
Well,
like the big guys putting us down and making us work, right?
and
Like,
they just morphed into reptiles, shape-shifting reptiles.
dude, have you ever told your friends a story and then heard it come back around similar enough to be able to recognize it,
Yeah, but I can debunk
different enough to know?
but that wouldn't
right?
happen. That wouldn't happen on a global level where they all came back to reptiles. We wouldn't have a word for reptile all the way around the globe. I mean, like there has to have been some kind of like standard symbolism in there.
Yeah, I mean, snakes are dangerous.
Right? Sure. Steve, what about you?
I like that. No,
I mean, it's true.
that is true, and that is honestly that could. What maybe this is all some old marketing campaign, just from Australia where they got the big snakes down there.
Australia's terrifying. Snakes and spiders, man. Get out of here.
That's one of the places.
No, it's down there. No.
And the other one is the Amazon. There's some big, huge snakes down there, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where the anaconda lives. South America. The
Mhm.
biggest snake there is.
Yeah.
Swallow you
The
whole.
Congo as
Yep.
well.
You, not me.
Yeah.
You. I'm too fat.
I'm taking it out. I'm smoking it. Yeah, well,
Ah.
everybody's getting boots and belts when this is over. I'll tell you that right now. Let's go. Got my pen in there. But yeah, no, this right here, this story is a little odd, man. And I was actually surprised at the amount of people that are like they are dialed in, man. They are bought into this, right? On a global, not a global level, right? Like the flat earther phenomenon is mostly American, and from my experience, right? From my experience, right? But yeah.
Yeah, because that makes me think. You guys have more of the theory down. I was looking around, like I got some examples of people either reporting or talking about that. So,
Bring it.
and it's funny that you said this is kind of global. So the first one that I heard of was, and again the fact that you said that people are so dialed in on it. We laugh at it, but some people are really bought in. So there was one woman. Oh, it was in 2008, and she was in Wales. And she reported that one night she was awoken in the middle of the night in her room, and there was a large, I think she said about 8 foot tall reptilian creature, man, standing there, and they abducted her, or it abducted her, and brought her to an underground cave. I guess it was their lair out there, and that there was a whole large gathering of them, maybe like 10 or so of them, and they all circled around her. And she claims that they all in unison put their hands upon her, and that before her own eyes, she began to transform into a reptile, and that they all were spilling their guts, their secrets about, the fact that they were brought here as an alien race. It really gets in this whole
Wow.
wild theories, which, I may not believe, but there's plenty of people out there who claim to have these experiences and truly believe that it is possible.
Man, they always go for our women. They do, man. They always go for our women. That chick story, the Air Force girl story, even the abduction story altogether, man. It was the Kelly Cahill story out of Melbourne, Betty and Barney Hill. He was a dude, though. They always go after our women, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they no?
I told you why.
Yeah, for sure. For the cross hibernation. The cross hibernation. That's what that seed war thing is about, man. The cross hibernation is, and there's actually a book I just ordered on Amazon. The Ariel from the At the Elephant in the Room 401 podcast told me about is about the reason why the aliens are hybridizing us is because God gave our bloodline, the bloodline of Adam, rule over the planet, and they feel that if they can corrupt the blood enough, just enough to have just enough of the Adam blood with the alien blood, they'll inherit the planet. I was like, I haven't read it yet. I just ordered it like 2 days ago, so like I'll just pass that around when I'm done with it. But
what if our planet's toxic to most things?
Well, these things can breed with us supposedly, so they can breathe our air if they're sexually compatible with us. The thing
right,
is,
but what if there's a toxic element, right? Like, what if they need something of us to be able to exist here because it's something that they can't tolerate here,
They have
right?
to but
Nitrogen, like nitrogen levels, right?
constantly get it. Is that why
Our
they're-
atmosphere. Well, I mean, okay, I'm just spitballing, man.
Yeah,
In all honesty, right? There are a lot of things that. Okay, let me start from the beginning. We adapted to this planet over
Mhm.
an unimaginable amount of time. Anything that comes from anywhere else is going to have adapted to its environment. Our planet's fairly unique, right? What if their biochemistry is just different enough that they can tolerate for small periods of time, but not, long periods of time? Like changes in gravity really mess with a body,
yeah, no.
right?
Even the scriptures say that in the end we get new bodies. These bodies are these for us to leave this earth. Yeah, these bodies.
Yeah, we've
this
talked
bodies
about
aren't
this
going to work.
before.
Man. Yeah, that's not going to work.
We're not making it towards the outer. We're not making it past the asteroid belt in this meat suit. It's not happening, bro.
Yeah.
You'll have you will not like. Okay.
What's that radiation?
Spend enough time out in space. Well, spend enough time out in space, and you won't be able to come back.
Yeah. What's that radiation globe that circles the Earth? What is that the thing called? I forget what it's called.
It's
man.
the magnetosphere,
Yeah.
right? And that keeps all this. That keeps us from literally being fried by all the solar flares
Yeah,
that
can't
come
go
our
through
way.
it.
A nice, pretty show instead. We get the little aurora instead of death, which is kind of nice.
Not Steve. Steve's
Thanks,
bored at work.
Aurora.
I was going to say, come on. Even if it opens up one little hole, come
Right,
on.
just hit me. Just give me a next class right here in the face.
One solar flare, one reptilian. Come on, man. One Draco. Can I just get one?
Yeah, something. Oh, dude, I'm with you on that. It would make the world far more interesting for sure.
Mhm.
Like, I got excited when I started seeing talk about UFO disclosure and stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously there's something going on because we got videotape and military grade, footage that's not arguable at that point.
Mhm.
No,
The
I
Tic
tell you,
Tac video alone.
I actually think that you guys are gonna laugh at me. We'll be around to talk about this by next July. This time next year. Like I think it'll be released and that they'll make themselves known, man. That there's aliens and there's extraterrestrials here, and they'll be among us, right? And
I guess it'll depend, right?
Well, so I actually think so. Look, here's only because this has to do with the Draco New World Order, right? Let's say that these things have been oppressing us since the beginning of time when they showed up, stabilized the planet or whatever. We're just going to go off that theory, right? So we're going to run with that.
Let's walk down that road.
Let's just run like this is real.
Yeah.
And they are preparing for a fight, right?
Okay.
And one part of this theory is that these Dracos are hated universally. When I say universally, I'm talking about universally, like in the universe. Dracos are hated, right? They are considered the lowest vibrating species. They're hated. So I don't want to use the word like races or species, other heavenly bodies.
Just say other entities.
Other entities have been actively subverting them throughout history. There was this one guy's name was
Right.
Valor,
They've been fighting them because they
Valor
asked their
Thor
assholes.
or somebody. This guy named Valor Thor or something like that. And it's to the point now where we are at the breaking point, right? We're at the breaking point where the only three options are: one is to reset the board like the flood, right? Which I don't think is going to happen. Two,
Well, they kind of promised not to do that again.
yeah, exactly, right. Two, the other option is that they flood out of these caves underneath the earth, and we're in camps, and they're like that movie V, like the TV show V, like we were talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Steve, you ever seen that TV
Proper
show?
propaganda campaign, and they get you under their spell, and they say, "Oh, we can heal you, we can save you, and then we're gonna eat you and fatten you up."
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna breed you and eat you, And the third option would be like every other good thing. They rise up and we smoke them, right? Like the same time, the people that want to help us, the reason why this has been fought in the shadows is because of they didn't want to be the ones to instigate it. But when they came out, they come in. That's actually the book of Revelations where it kicks in or whatever. And so, yeah, that's where like if that is true, and it would explain, it would tie in.
That can give some explanations to a lot of things, right?
Religion.
As to why we've not been visited.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're infected with Draco and they don't want to mess with us, right?
Exactly, right.
There's an idea that floats around amongst writers, right? Humanity historically is shown as the underdog in this particular case, right? I run in circles where we come at it from a different direction, right? Like we haven't been visited because there's something about us that just kind of is a little bit scary. Which, I mean, standing from the outside, looking in, trying to take on that perspective a lot because I write science fiction. I can definitely see
Jay's
it,
a writer.
right? Shut up.
Jay writes books.
But, I mean, hold my beer, dude. That's a human thing. That is a human thing, right? Full on. And, like...
100%.
What if...
Steve's last word's going to be, shit, I thought that would work.
More than once. So, I wonder, right? Like, I wonder if there's I would love if there's a seed of truth to that, right? Like humans are special in a little bit of a crazy way. Like, and it makes them just a little bit scared of us because, and my thought process is that we were a failed experiment that has gone wildly awry and yet is a little bit scary because we've been able to do so much on our own, kind of, right? Just a thought. But yeah, I mean...
Steve, what about you?
I mean, for Jay's theory, I mean, I think I never thought of it that way, actually. Like, yeah, they've come down and looked and like, yeah, we're not messing with these guys.
It's just
we've advanced far more than them, so maybe we're the predators now. So we just don't even realize it.
I got a theory on that, man. I got a theory on that, man. In scriptures, it always talks about, God always says God will take what the enemy meant for your evil and turn it for your good. So hear me out on this, right? Hear me out on this. This has everything to do with reincarnation. Do you know how avatar you would be if you had access to all your memories and all your past life experiences? Do you, like, say for example, like
you don't even know.
They recycle us, right? They recycle us, right? Weird thing happened to me one time ago, man. But it's not the weirdest. It's actually not going to be the weirdest thing you guys have ever heard me say, man. Like, not myself. I had a dream one time, man. And in my dream, I was regressing through my past lives to the point where I was a black substance in a pool of like black substance, and I shot out of it upwards, and that was my creation, first ever creation, right? Like my first ever, like, went through it.
True Genesis.
The true Genesis, man, like the primordial ooze that we were, whatever, the cosmic whatever of, not my body now, not my body, my consciousness.
Just your consciousness.
My consciousness, right? And what if, man, if whatever machine is on the moon zaps us, and I've got physical proof of this as well, it broke and we instantly had access to eons worth of however long they've been doing this, our life experiences, intellectual maturity, all that stuff came coming back into us, right?
The old soul idea.
Yeah.
But on steroids.
Yeah. Literally I know this is going to sound weird, but like literally we could become that. You know, a Sith Lord or a Jedi, like all these powers
right.
that we would have into our mind. And that's what makes us scary to them. That if we ever broke loose, like, for example, two things. One, I know the guy that's shooting, you know, beta level antibiotics in a chimpanzee's butt is like, if this chimpanzee ever got in this cage, you got this guy, they would beat me to death. You know what I'm saying? Like here's a banana.
They would literally eat his face.
Yeah, exactly right. Like literally, they would eat this. They would eat them, right? I know that there has to be that level of like, Tonga, no, Tonga, no. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, there's not. If it gets to that point, you're done. No Tonga, no.
Yeah, no,
that thing is
no,
so much stronger than you.
Yeah. And what if it's
done.
like, and what if that's like, and the reason why I think that is because I never bought the junk DNA theory. Where they said that like 99. Steve, are you familiar with the junk DNA?
Yeah, but that's been proven to be kind of like bullshit too, a little bit.
Yeah. Steve, are you familiar?
They just didn't know what they were looking at.
Just the idea that apparently there's a lot of our DNA that they don't know where it is, where it came from, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, supposedly like 90% of our DNA is supposed to be junk. And I've always never bought that. And I think they knew from the very beginning it wasn't. Evidently, that DNA is a recorder for your entire bloodline, like a DVD. You can go back and look at it, right? Like a hard drive.
Okay, so think about it. All right, so
I mean, just imagine. You guys thought you're losers now. 7 years.
I think about this shit. I think about this shit all the time. I think about this stuff all the time because what you're talking about is okay, so there's a physicist named Sarah Walker who works on constructor theory, right, at ASU. I'm a big fan, right? Super smart lady and really cool. Like just some of the newer kind of ideas and newer thinking that she and her colleagues are working on, right? Yeah, the idea like. So for me, I've always, we all gonna do it now. I mean, it's easy for me. I just let it happen because
Steve's the only one that can wear an eye patch because he actually lost an eye to a vicious.
It's not gone though. It's still there. It just doesn't obey all the time.
A vicious ping pong match gone south and got hostile.
Horribly
ping
wrong.
Pong injury.
It's actually still in there. I don't want him to see it. That's why I wear the patch.
Exactly right.
We drew a little smiley face on it, make it a little bit more palatable, but it's not good for the camera.
Pluck that bad boy out in the glass eye with like a crosshair in it. You know what I'm saying?
It's all one long probability chain, man. Mm-hmm. All stories are true. Okay, think about it. All stories are true because the probability of anything that has a non-zero probability will play out, and I can defend that.
Do it then, with your devil worshiping theoretical.
We are all, totally devil worship. Anyway, if anything, I worship probability.
Math. Okay. This guy, math.
Jesus.
You can't wait. Sorry.
No, I'm not even trying. I'm just trying to get a complete thought out, before my ADD brain and the greyhounds start playing with the hamster balls again. It's just. So anyway. Yeah, it is like the cantina in there most days.
Nerd.
So the idea is that probability is the underlying fabric of the universe, right? So if you even get down to quantum theory of things popping in and out of existence, that requires a causal chain. The universe is both deterministic and random at the same time, right? Because there are random things that happen at the microscopic level, but it all kind of pans out at the macroscopic level, right? Like you're not going to see, so there's this stuff called heavy water, right? It's got one extra neutron or something. I'm probably murdering that. You're not going to know the difference. You're not going to see the heavy water because you can't see the atoms, but at a microscopic atomic level, it's different, right? But it all gets kind of jumbled together because it's just such a high view, right? People look like ants from high up, right? So you step back and you look at the macro scale of time, right? this happened and it caused all of these other things to happen inevitably because there was nothing steering the ship,
Yeah,
right?
that's like, what is that? That's the butterfly effect, chaos theory, right? Something like
Chaos
that.
theory and constructor theory kind of like
Yeah.
like wiggle together, I think, in some respects. I'm new to the whole constructor theory thing because I just started with it, but I like it because she describes something called a causal chain, and I think of that as like what I call a quantum echo, right? So if you think about a hammer or a screwdriver, we love screwdrivers, right, Joe? Do you think about a screwdriver, right? If you trace its lineage back, you can trace it back to a sharp stick, right? So what I think of as the quantum echo, the thing that moves backwards, like where did this screwdriver come from? So far back in history, it was a sharp stick, but now it's a screwdriver.
What came first, the screwdriver or the screw?
Probably the nail.
The nail.
Somebody screwed up. Get it? Somebody screwed up. Steve got
Oh, that's good.
That was funny.
That was good.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while. Everything comes from something, right? That's the whole idea. Probabilities will play out. I think we're the engines playing those probabilities out, right? Because we're the only ones that can actually kind of steer the ship.
So if I take your theory and I apply it to our conversation, it's probably right. Reptilians are real.
Probably, yeah. Somewhere.
There's a probability.
In some part of the multiverse. In one of these probabilities. Well, it's
right. No, it's
more
here,
likely than a lot of things.
No, because right here, to add this to
Where's the asteroid mist?
Was this in Sierra Leone, Africa in 1990, they found over 100 reptilian figurines buried in the ground. They were actually digging for blood diamonds because it was the Africa stays at war, but so do we. And the Africans, again, refer to them as the Nomole, or sky gods, and they said they came from the sky, and they found these weird blue rocks.
That one I did hear about, actually.
Yeah. Those are neat because they're different.
Not from
they're
here.
Not uncommon. They're very uncommon.
From what I saw, that these rocks that were found with the Nomole figurines, they've been tested by over a dozen geologist teams and researchers, and no one can figure out the origin. And the leading theory is that they are extraterrestrial from the sky somewhere.
A lot of nitrogen. Weird.
I'm making a lizard people shirt. That's what I took away from this conversation.
I like it.
So, all right. Now, Steve?
Yes.
Believe or not believe in the lizard people?
I can't believe in this one. I try to be open-minded.
It's going with a hard no. A hard no.
I'm going for a hard no on this one. It's just there's
Steve, but are you seeing everything we're putting down?
Oh my gosh. Is that I'm gonna not be offended by that one and say that
because Jay didn't see it either. He's looking over there.
Joe, and
I'm always looking over there. Over there.
When one of your leading theories on this is that Jay-Z and Adele turned into lizards on their plane by accident, and they just told everyone to keep it under wraps. This one's just too good for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull that thread too, because, when you do what we do, right, you come across some muddied waters, I'll put it this way, right? And I saw a theory. Have you seen the people that have put together the photos of these people saying they never die? Like, here's Eddie Murphy from like 18. Have you seen those photos before AI? Right?
I have Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, right. It's like, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
All right, look.
And so to me, so yeah, that's why I thought to and that's why they say like there's this great. I say it's great, but I don't follow him. There's this great channel, man, with this guy, right? Where he has put together like this evidence of these people saying that, look, I don't know how they do it, but this person never died, and this person is this person now. He just did one about this
It's like the Count of Saint Germain.
Yeah, he just did this one saying that this person named Shaka Khan, this I don't know when she was around or whatever, is actually Nicki Minaj, right? And
That's funny as shit.
bro, you can see it.
Okay,
right?
hold on.
And
Hold on. I gotta look at this one because I know who Chaka Khan is.
Do this one. Do this one, man. Do this one. Oh my God! I'm drawing a blank on this guy. He's
You're
a white,
blanky.
No, he's a white guy. He's got these. He's a singer. He's got these tattoos all over his face. He's a white dude. He sings country music
Machine
now.
Gun Kelly?
No, not that dude's so sick.
Jelly Roll.
No, give me some more, Steve.
You said the country music singer with tattoos all over his face. That was the limit of my country singer knowledge right there.
Post Malone.
Post Malone.
Post Malone is actually Hank Williams Jr. cloned. And dude, when I tell you that if you go and look at these pictures of Hank Williams Jr., like if he ain't cloned, he knew his mama. I'll tell you that right now. There is no way, bro. Look that one up, bro. Hank Williams Jr.
I'm looking at it right
Post
now.
Malone.
Just give me a minute.
Post Malone is Hank Williams Jr.
Oh my goodness.
And the theory is that
I can see the resemblance.
No, man,
sure.
like go on TikTok or Instagram and put it in there.
It's right here.
And
I did. I'm on Reddit right now.
And watch this guy, Steve. Watch this guy's thing. Like he lays it out.
Funny shit,
bro. And he does other ones too, man. And
Chaka Khan, yeah, okay. I'm definitely. I can definitely see the resemblances for sure with Chaka Khan and Nicki Minaj and then Post Malone. But here's what I want to say, and this is where I'm gonna, this is where my commentary is gonna stop, right? Okay, so think of it like this: the genetic code in humans is like a really long series of numbers, right? But it is a finite number, right? So there will be people who are doppelgangers. It's going to be rare, but it's going to happen that their features are similar enough that most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference because people's facial recognition is a spectrum, just like everything else, right? There are some people who recognize faces and it's a thing, right? Like there are some people who are what they call super recognizers, right? That'll score like a 90, 95% on facial recognition and being able to distinguish very, very small features, right? And then, but there's the other end of the spectrum too, right? Who people are face blind, literally. I think Brad Pitt, I believe, says that he's face blind, just has a hard time recognizing people's faces.
Probably a blind lizard.
Probably. Probably one of the chameleons one with the long tongue and
exactly.
Shift colors and stuff.
So you think it's a doppelganger effect, basically? That's a good thing. I
think that there's a finite amount of phenotypes that we'll see as humans, right? Like, look at us. We don't look super similar, but there are some definite shared.
Y'all don't look nothing like me, baby.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Right?
Oh man!
For Halloween, we're gonna dress up as each other. We're gonna dress up as each other for Halloween, right?
I like that.
I wear the eye patch, it'd just be so much easier for me.
For our Halloween podcast, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shift spots, man.
Absolutely. I'll be Steve.
Love it.
It'll be me.
So
Steve, be you.
But yeah, man. So that's really, it's just odd, man. It's odd. It's an oddity, right? And so here's my Jay. Jay, are you believing in this?
I'm gonna go with Steve on the whole Rihanna and Jay-Z thing. That really kind of just too far,
right?
But I won't discount the fact that, look, it's in a lot of cultures, dude. A lot, right? There's a lot of serpent symbolism and reptilian symbolism in a lot of old cultures, like snakehead people and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, there's something there. Do I believe that Jay-Z is tongue lashing people in the literal sense? Probably not. I'm not going to discount the possibility, though, of there being an old race that came into contact with old humans, right? And then the legends got passed down.
I
And
tell you what,
that's reasonable.
I'm gonna tie it together for y'all boys. Here's my theory. Right, Jay, get your notepad down, and when you write a book, you can make the main character Steve. Right?
Absolutely.
I think it is real, and I'll
And I
tell you
see
why.
it.
I'll tell you. I think it is real, and I'll tell you why I think it is real. But I think that they've been here all along, but they are also they're these beings are supposed to be eternal, not immortal. Supposed to have very, very long lifespans. I think these are the original vampires. The word vampire came through. I think that they were bloodsuckers. They eat our blood as well. That would tie it into the whole Vlad the Impaler being a Draco, the whole Dracula, the whole thing that would go down. And that's why we're breeding these wolves and sending them in these caves to fight them. Their natural enemies are the two. So look, in Samaria, right? In Samaria, cuneiform tablets are written in Sumerian language. Within those tablets, the word vampire is in there, and the word lycanthrope, whatever the disease is. Yeah, lycanthrope. Whatever the disease is.
Lycanthropy.
Yeah, lycanthropy. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Whatever the disease is that makes a man shift into a wolf. They've been enemies forever. Since forever, right? Don't know why, but they have been.
I know why.
That would explain, well, hold that thought. That would explain why these celebrities recycle themselves every so often, because if you had the ability to shapeshift, you would have the ability to fake your aging and then eventually slam back into your state. Say, for example,
Hey, you just make yourself an old woman instead of a young woman.
So say, for example, I faked my death for 10 years and then, hey, I'm a new 15-year-old pop star. Yeah, I'm a new pop star or whatever that came out. And when the queen died, she was rumored to be a reptilian. When the queen died, during her funeral procession, there was a weird ghost broadcast that came through where people were talking about she didn't reincarnate in time. She's trapped in that body forever. You can go look that up. People are going to say, oh, they picked up some kind of soap opera. No, that's not what happened, man. And if you want to know about ghost radio calls, Jay can tell Steve his story after we hang up this phone call here. But yeah. So
well,
yeah,
I told all it was on the last podcast.
So Steve, did you hear what Jay called?
I must have missed that.
I'll tell him about it after. It's in the last podcast. It's like 45 minutes.
But yeah. So anyway, so I'm in. And also too, it just adds to the, if you live in this world and you think that there's not dog-headed river snakes in freaking New Jersey, you don't get out enough, man, because we are in a magnificent place, man.
Weird place. Yeah. Dude, you know what? I just looked at something because you inspired me to look at something up, right?
That's what I do. I inspire greatness. I'm pretty much.
The Earth's crust is between 3 to 43 miles deep, right? So I want you to think about how tall the tallest building is. It's not a mile tall.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
But if you go a mile deep, you can carve out all
there's got to be, there's not a building
right?
at least a mile high. We'll say there's not 2 miles high.
See? No, there's not a building that's okay. How tall is the tallest?
It'll be in Dubai. Somebody built something that touches the moon.
Yeah, it's 2,717 feet tall.
That's half a mile.
Not a mile. That's half a mile tall.
Check out the brain on Steve, man. You got Rain Man powers when that eye came out, huh? That's half a mile.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about this. All right. Let me put forward a theory. Because we were talking about the southeastern United States, right? The Appalachian Mountains are some of the oldest on Earth. and we know that they're full of caves. And who knows how deep that stuff goes. And the further you go down, the warmer it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So for cold-blooded creatures to survive some kind of planetary apocalypse like a meteor strike, if they went and hid in caves and they were reptilian and had, they preferred the warmth, they would not come out. Because if a meteor strike happened, it's the same as nuclear winter, but planet-wide. It's going to be an ice age, essentially. Something that reptilian wouldn't survive.
And 3 times the amount of the Earth's entire water was found inside the Earth. Anyways, just more and more to go to. Boy, next one, got to get into Hollow Earth, boys. Hollow Earth, boys. Agartha,
We
whatever.
need a mole machine so we can drill
that's
in
what we
the
need.
cave.
That's actually what we need. Well, anyways, y'all know how we do. If you stuck around this long, you're what? Hit them, Steve.
One of our
You are
losers.
top of the losers, man. That you are. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment in there if you believe in the lizard people, or you got some Dracos stories that you want to talk
or
about.
if you've got a good explanation or a good story or some good sources, absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, if you got some good stuff, we are pumping as a channel. We are picking up a lot of subscribers as we go and move along. So we'll be at 10,000 before you know it. I'm going to fire these guys and act like I did it on my own.
Really?
I stand alone.
As soon as we hit 9, I'm out the door, of course.
Mm.
As soon as we hit 9, we're going to delete it and start all over again because we like the pain, son.
That's right. Like the masochism.
We like the pain, son. We like the pain. Well, all right. Steve, walk us out.
My brain is so fucking messed up with Figurines from this episode. I got nothing to say other than
Figurines.
it was great having y'all. I had a great discussion here. Jay, thank you for enlightening me with a lot of information. Joe, with your
Yeah, Joe, you should put it in a book
Yeah,
that you write.
Joe, you were pretty on the attack for this episode this week.
Yeah, I know, man.
I'm feeling good, boys. I'm feeling good, boys. I got some organic pineapple juice, and you know what? It's having an effect on me, man. I don't know what it is.
Good.
Decalcified my third eye. I don't know what it is, man, but I'm on fire here. I'm on fire, boys. I'm on fire. Anyways,
That's
noobs, we're up.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.